Good morning. It's day one of Fortnight Frights. I'm outside in the cold, overcast, creepy Washington weather. Perfect fall weather. And we're probably going to have a little bit more like this in the next coming week. So I'm feeling kind of ready to start Fortnight Frights. Still working on Ghostland, which is a book about haunted houses in the US. I haven't started one of my Fort Fright TBR books yet, but I will be trying to at least start one today. I'd like to get a little further in Ghostland before I start another book. As a reminder, I'll put up the little bingo card here for the prompt. Read a book by a Black or African author. I'm going to be reading Beloved by Toni Morrison because it has that ghost story in it. And it's supposed to be very disturbing and difficult to read. And also a beautiful story though. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is a classic and not too long of a read. So I'll start that and then I'll probably work on The Year of the Witching next. But I'll update you as I go. I plan on watching some of Seiji's videos, especially on the group books, because I'll be reading The Year of the Witching and The Only Good Indians, which are both group books for the readathon. And I'd like to watch some of the movies that she's kind of set up because I haven't really started watching any Halloween winter movies yet, and it would be nice to kind of get into a little bit of that. One of the movies she put on there is Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, and I love the book Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I've never actually watched the movie yet, so I gotta watch that one. But like I said, I'm continuing Ghostland. I will start on Beloved shortly, and it's Sunday. I'm just kind of relaxing today. I have a lot of things I need to do, but I just feel like vegging, and especially with the rainy weather, just feel like relaxing, reading, enjoying today. So we came out to the woods today, and there's somebody's been digging in the woods, and we don't really know, is it our neighbors? What's going on? But we've got some weird digging going on, and then there's a shovel over here. And this is all out here in the back of the woods and kind of creepy.
Creepy.
Who's been digging in our woods?
Oh! There's something running through their yard and they've got sticks and they're trying to make it go away.
Ooh, creepy.
Ooh.
Cece, what's out there? What's digging these big holes with a shovel? I don't know what that shovel came from though. That's so weird.
No, I know.
And the fact that it doesn't attach.
It is very weird,
just
but
a
that
shovel.
thing was on it, so somebody tried to dig with that thing.
Or maybe the kids came out here and were fooling around.
Yeah, you can't do anything with this.
Ooh. Sasquatch's shovel.
Busy. Let's dig.
Alright, so it's still day one. It's late in the evening. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I haven't done too much today. It's kind of been a funky weekend for me, just not one of my favorites. We didn't really do anything of importance at all today. Just read, relaxed, I cooked a meal, and that was pretty much it. And I'm okay with that. I needed it. I'm getting close to about halfway through on Beloved, page 115. This is a hard book to talk about because this is a very hard book to read. It's well written. I really am enjoying it as much as you can enjoy a book that delves very deeply into the horrors of slavery. Really, really awful things happen in this book. And I've got to say, all the trigger warnings are in this. I mean, there's stuff you don't even want to imagine going on in this book. So it's difficult in that sense. It is ultimately a ghost story. Setha, you first meet her and you're at her house. It's called 124. She's living there with her daughter, Denver. Her two sons have ran away because they were scared off by the ghost. And all you really know is that the ghost that haunts this house is a baby. And I think it's the baby that she lost. We haven't really gone into detail about that part yet. But this baby is vicious and angry. It's just angry. It's haunting this house and haunting them all really loudly. And And the two boys run away. Denver stays, and her and Seth are there, and their life is very solitary because nobody wants to be around them. Nobody comes to the house. Nobody wants to be around Denver. She's very lonely, and you can see this in some of the things that she is dealing with, especially when Paul D, someone from Seth's past, comes back into her life, and Denver's dealing with the frustration with that, and Paul D shakes things up, and in that process, someone else comes to the house and just shows up. She's this girl named Beloved. She's like 19 years old. She's creepy, and you don't know why she's there and who she is, where she came from, what's she doing. She's this really odd person, and they take her in because, you know, they think she's an escaped slave and they feel bad for her. She really adds to the nervousness and discomfort of this story. I'm at the point where there's a lot of flashbacks because Paul, since he's come back into her life, she's remembering things from the past that she tried to put behind her. So it really feels like the other part of the haunting of their lives is this past, this history. It's very uncomfortable, frightening in how graphic it is, and also frightening in how creepy the ghosts and the dealing with the past are. It's not a book you can read really fast because it's very heavy. Beautiful writing style. Toni Morrison's doing a very good job of creating these characters and really painting this scene for you so you know exactly what was happening during this time. And then I also read up to about page 95 in Ghostland, the nonfiction book for my book club this month. I'm struggling with this. I'm finding it easy to put this book down, and it has a lot to do with the writing style, and I'll talk about this a lot more in my October nonfiction review recommendation video. So stay tuned for Ghostland, some more information on it, because I was really excited about this book, and I'm struggling. But I will keep reading it because I need to read it for my book club, and really the topic is a topic I'm fascinated by, but I'm just not liking the writing style of the author. All right, quick little update. Today is day 2 of Fortnight Frights, and I'm just not my chipperest self today, so I'll update you really quickly. I'm on page 159 of Beloved, and I feel like I'm making some pretty good headway in this one. This book will wreck you. So be prepared for that. It is a very tough book, and it's a very horrifying book. I am also kind of watching some episodes of Gilmore Girls, doing homework and all that stuff too, but today it's been kind of nice to pamper myself a little, and it's that time of the year to watch Gilmore Girls, so I have been watching a few episodes, and it feels really good. Very heartwarming. I also, after reading this and Ghostland yesterday, spending a good portion of the day reading these 2 books, I picked up Black Witch Magic, which is this fantasy romance that I picked up from NetGalley. It's cute so far. I just started it. So it's supposed to be a romance about this girl named Celine. She's a witch. She comes from a long line of witches. You find out in the very beginning that her family is cursed. So we'll see what happens with her. The male main character's name is Aiden. He does a show with his best friend that's like a ghost hunter show, and he's the skeptic between the two of them. I'm guessing she's going to meet Aiden the skeptic, and she's a witch, and it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. A very lighthearted kind of Halloween book, which is nice considering these other 2 aren't quite so lighthearted. Good morning. It is day 3 of Fortnight Frights, and I have a lot more energy. Okay, a little more energy today, and just about to make breakfast. Got a lot of work to do today. A little bit of homework. My friend's coming over later on for our study session, and I'm getting close to finishing Beloved. So that's going to be my focus for today. And then I always see people in their vlogs introducing their plants, and I have one that I'm really particularly fond of right now. My aunt gave me a piece of her plant. I don't have a name for my plant because I don't name my plants, but it's beautiful and I love it. So let me give you a look. So this pretty plant is an angel wing begonia. My aunt gave it to me. When she gave it to me, it was just the stem with a couple of these big leaves on it. Now, all of a sudden, it has these beautiful little babies coming from it, including this one down here. And it's doing really well. It's very happy here. It's got this little skylight for it, and it's this happy little plant. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it starts having flowers. If you can think of a name that you want to name my little angel wing begonia, put it in the comment section down below. Now, one thing I pride myself in is being able to crack an egg with one hand. So let's see how this goes. See if I still got this talent. Oh, that's not nice. I used to be much better at it. Well, with the... Dang it. Ooh, let's try it again. There we go. That one was better. Okay, so I just finished Beloved by Toni Morrison, and I thought this book was great. It was so well done. It was beautifully written. It was incredibly compelling. I don't know how to rate it. It is a very difficult book. The subject matter is hard. The writing style is complex. And I know that if I read this again, I will notice new things about this book. Even though it's a short book, it took me a little while because there's one section where she's basically talking about Beloved's experience, where what Beloved has seen to be her experience. And it's written in prose, and it's so complicated that you actually don't realize that it's going to be kind of explained in the next section. So I kept reading it over and over again, trying to understand from Beloved's viewpoint what the heck she was trying to say. Just know that this is a difficult book to read, and it might take a few readings to really understand what she's talking about. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to people who love literary fiction and love beautiful writing style. There are a lot of trigger warnings in this one. There's trigger warnings of bestiality. There's trigger warnings of rape, molestation, murder, beating, all kinds. I mean, there's so many different horrible things you read about in this book. And so be aware of that before you go into this. This is not an easy read at all. That being said, I thought it was fantastic, and I will definitely read it again at some point. I'm really excited about getting started on my next book, which is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. However, I need to continue reading Ghostland, the nonfiction book that I started. I sort of put it down the last couple of days, and so now I need to pick it up and continue reading that so I can get that one finished. And I'm also reading Black Witch Magic. I've been kind of reading it a little bit before going to bed. It's an adorable romance. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm about a quarter of the way through. Getting through that one pretty quickly. And at this point, Aiden and Celine have met. They have a meet cute where they end up hailing the same U-Ride cab. They both have called this cab, and all of a sudden it shows up, and they're both like, well, that's my cab. And so they're kind of like fighting over it, but they find out they're going to the same place, and then they end up sharing the cab together to get there. And so that's sort of the beginning of them meeting each other. He's there to study up on the family. He's... The whole reason Aiden is there is to study up, well, partially to visit with his friend's family, who is the co-host of his Ghost Hunter show, but then also partly to do research on the Blackstone family. This family of rumored witches that have a curse, and he's there to do research. And when he finds out Celine is the granddaughter of Luna Blackstone, he's super excited. So he makes a date so that they can meet for coffee, and she's all excited because she thinks that he's inviting her out on a date. And I mean, he kind of is, but at the same time, it's like, ulterior motive. That always gets you in trouble. So I'm excited to see where this goes. It's really cute so far. It's nice to have something light to read while I'm reading all these other heavier horror style books. I'm realizing about myself that I like horror, I like thriller, but I don't know how good I am at reading them back to back to back. I need like some lightness in between. It's been kind of nice to pick up Black Witch Magic and just read something fun in between all the other not so fun books. So that's it for tonight. I'm going to continue reading Ghostland, and tomorrow is another day. Hopefully I'll get that one finished, or at least far enough into it so I can start reading The Year of the Witching. Hello, it's day 4, and I'm on page 153 of Ghostland. I've been making a bit of a dent in this one, which feels good. So the first section was about haunted houses and talking about different various haunted houses. And then the second section was on like haunted hotels, places of business, bars, stores, brothels, things like that. And I actually found that with that section I was more interested. I was a lot more drawn into that part. He did talk quite a bit about the Bay Area in California, which is where I grew up. Of course, he piqued my interest because he was bringing up places that I have memories of. I really enjoyed that section. Mom's also reading this because we belong to the same nonfiction book club. And she's not enjoying the next section, which is about prisons, asylums, and like cemeteries, which I kind of feel like will be the section I'm most excited about and most interested in. That's the very next section I'll be starting on, the civic-minded spirits. One thing I do love about this book, and I will say this for him, I really like the aesthetics of this book. I like the font he uses. I don't know if you can see it well. And there's a whole bunch of cute little, there's a whole bunch of cute little like drawings, and then let me give you another example. Like these little things here. And I really like this. I just feel like the font is really appropriate. Ghostland, I am continuing on. I am making progress. However, I will start The Year of the Witching today, which is a young adult dark fantasy, and I'm really excited about this. It is day 5, and I was up really late last night doing homework, which was good because I got it done. And I'm realizing I have a lot of homework the next week leading up to an exam that I have next Wednesday. So that's something to think about. It's going to take away time from my reading. But before I went to sleep and a little bit this morning, I started reading The Year of the Witching, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's definitely different than Beloved as far as the ease of reading it. It's not as complicated of a reading style. I'm definitely getting the cult vibes from this town of Bethel. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting more of it to be like a Puritan environment. But in actuality, it feels very cultish. There's multiple wives. It's a very patriarchal society. They do animal sacrifices and are very self-righteous. So Emmanuel's trying to get along in this community where, because she's half black, half white, she's looked down upon because her mother gave birth to her with an outskirter, which are the people that are outside of Bethel and tend to come into the community because they're looking for work or sanctuary or need help. Even though Bethel is trying to help outskirters be saved and serve God within Bethel community, they're always looked down as second-class citizens. They're not treated like the normal Bethelans. So we're meeting Ezra, who is the prophet's son. He's taken kind of an interest in Emmanuel, and we don't know exactly why. We just know that he finds her interesting. Seems to be kind of trying to confide in her some of his thoughts, at least in the very beginning. I've just started. And at the point that I'm at, Emmanuel goes to sell their goat at the market. She's unsuccessful, and when she's leaving to go back home with her goat, a big storm hits, and the goat freaks out and gets loose and runs into the dark wood. And the dark wood is somewhere where her grandma's forbidden her to go. It's very dangerous. That's where all the witches are. Lilith, these other famous witches in the scriptures that you're supposed to not go near because that is a sin. And so she ends up running around in the forest trying to find her goat Judas. She comes upon 2 of the witches, and they give her her mother's journal. She's reading about her mother and finding out kind of the history. So that's where things are so far. I like Emmanuel. I like her character at this point. It's, like I said, it's pretty early on. I'm enjoying the mood of this thing. It does, like I said, feel very cult-like. So that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. She's doing a pretty good job of creating a scene, at least within the Darkwood, and then kind of getting the history and the story of this cult-like group in Bethel. It's day 6 and it's the evening, so I haven't had a chance to update today. I haven't really got too much reading since the last time I updated you anyways. I have continued on with Ghostland. I've probably read another 25 or so pages. I'm into the section about penitentiaries and asylums and whatnot, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a topic that my morbid curiosity finds fascinating, and so I'm really enjoying this section so far. I've also done quite a bit of listening to The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. Ultimately, what you're learning about is the Mayfair witches, this long line of witches that are from New Orleans, and, well, they're not from New Orleans, but quite a few generations have been living in New Orleans. The story really focuses around Rowan Mayfair, who is the daughter of Deirdre Mayfair, and she's, I think, the only person who really has powers in the family and is going to inherit everything. But Rowan was adopted off early on. She was taken from Deirdre and adopted off to another family member. She doesn't know who her family is. She doesn't know about the legacy. She knows nothing about the Mayfairs. She knows she has certain powers. Fairly early on, you learn that she has killed by, I think, causing like brain aneurysms or something along those lines. There's another guy named Michael Curry, and Michael Curry is from New Orleans but lives in San Francisco where Rowan lives. He's going for a walk one day and he gets dragged into the ocean in San Francisco. And he's dead. I mean, he's clinically dead, but Rowan's on her yacht and she spots him in the water and she pulls him out. And from that moment forward, he has powers, and his powers are basically where he can touch something and know the story of that thing that he's touched. A person, an object, anything he touches, he knows its story. He knows the person who owned it, a lot of different things about that object that he touches. And so he wears gloves all the time because people are trying to exploit his power. From his near-death experience, he has a mission that he was told to do, but he can't remember what it is. And he's drawn to Rowan. Rowan is drawn to him. They're quickly involved with each other, but Michael knows he has to go back to New Orleans to fulfill whatever this mission that he's supposed to do, that he heard about when he was close to death. And he's going there to kind of discover what he's supposed to be doing because he has no idea. And he feels very strongly, though, that he has to go do it. Rowan just found out a little tidbit about her past, her history. She's not supposed to go back to New Orleans. Her adopted mom actually wrote in her will and made Rowan sign a paper that said, "I will never go back to New Orleans. I'll never go back there." And Rowan's might be breaking that at this point. So we'll see what happens next. I'm curious to know how I would feel about the book if I was reading it myself. You know, it's a big book, but I don't love the narrator for the audiobook, and it'd be interesting to see if I actually really liked the book. I mean, I'm enjoying it now, but if I really liked it if I was reading it, it's kind of hard to say sometimes with audiobooks. I do like how well she sets up the different locations. Like, she really goes into depth about San Francisco, especially like Marin, and I can visualize all the things she's talking about. So that element I like, and I really like all the backstories she's telling about the people, because you feel like you really know them. You know, you really know Michael Curry at this point. You really know Rowan Mayfair at this point. So probably more than you need to know, but enough that you really kind of can understand what they're going through in different points of this. I've read up to page 100 on the Year of the Witching. I'm enjoying that so far, but I had to kind of put it down because I knew that I kept wanting to read it, and I would have just kept reading it, but I have a lot of homework and things to get done, so I'm doing that today. If I pick up the Year of the Witching again, I know that I will have a hard time putting it down again. So that's a good sign. That means I'm really enjoying it. One thing I did today, though, is I met up with my friend Hannah, and we went to a couple different thrift stores. We wanted to go just check out some places, have a good time, and I picked up books. So I'm not going to give you a lot of detail about these books today because I'll do a haul soon and I'll actually figure out what these books are really about so I can give you a better description, because I know that a lot of these are on my to be read list, but I don't really necessarily know what they're about. The first place I went to is Habitat for Humanity, and their books are a quarter there, which I love. So I got 4 books there, and the books that I got there were The Submission by Amy Waldman. I have no clue what this is about, something about 9/11. It isn't on my TBR, but when I picked it up, I was kind of like, okay, that sounds like something I might be interested in, so I picked it up. And I'll be able to tell you more about that once I do a little bit of research on it. And this was a quarter, even though it says $10 on here. This is The Lost City of Z by David Grann. I have heard about this book from a couple of booktubers, and I'm really excited to read it. It sounds like something I'd be really interested in, so I'm really happy that I was able to pick this up for a quarter. Not too bad. So the next book I picked up for a quarter is Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this. I have no clue what it's about, but it was a quarter, and I was like, Pulitzer Prize winner. People whose reviews I appreciate have liked it, so I better check it out. And the last book I picked up for a quarter was this book, which is actually a Reader's Digest condensed book. However, I'm going to be doing a craft project with this. You'll be seeing this again, but not really in the capacity of me reading it. This has a very Christmassy look with like the colors and everything, so I thought this would be great, but it's going to be turned into an art project. Then I went over to Value Village, and their books were definitely not a quarter, but they had a special buy 4, get 1 free, so of course I had to buy 4 and get 1 free. I was pulled in by the gimmick. And so I did. So here's what I got. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And I've heard a lot about this. I've heard it's fantastic. And it's possibly on an upcoming TBR, which I'll tell you about more in the future. Even if I don't get to read it this year, I will read this at some point next year because I've heard great things and I really want to check it out. The next one I got was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And I would like to check out Erin Morgenstern's writing. I am intrigued by this because some people love it and some people don't, and so I will see what I feel about The Night Circus. Next I got Sabriel by Garth Nix, and the recommendation for this was from Amanda from Book Apple Tree, and I'll link the video down below where she recommended this book. It's kind of an older young adult fantasy, and it just sounded interesting to me, and it was there. I saw it and I was like, oh, I'll get that one. Homecoming by Yagazi. I've been told to read this one by a few people and I really can't wait to get into it. It's supposed to be amazing. And finally, this one, it's The Orphan's Tale by Pam Jenoff. I read The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Jenoff and I have a review for that. I'll link it here and in the description box below, so if you want to check that out. I really liked her writing style a lot and I was wanting to read some of her other books. Her books seem to be historical fictions about strong women and I like that, so I'm looking forward to reading this. So that's all the books. I got 9 books today for about $15, not too bad. I had fun, and it's probably a good thing that I went with my friend Hannah because if I had spent more time looking at books, it wouldn't have been 9. So I'm gonna have some dinner now, finish my homework, and then edit this video because I'm going away for the weekend and I won't have time to do it anytime this weekend. So at this point, that's gonna be it for my week 1 of Fortnight Frights. And I've read 1 book so far, Beloved. I'm 100 pages into The Year of the Witching. And once I actually sit down and read that one, I'm gonna get through it pretty quickly because I'm enjoying it a lot. It's pulling me in. So I have 1 more week to finish Year of the Witching, read The Only Good Indians, and read Relic. Let's hope it goes well. I've got an exam next Wednesday and a paper due, so I'm enjoying my reading this month. That's the best I can say for myself. I feel like I'm getting into the vibe of Halloween. I feel like I'm getting some diversity into my reading. If I don't get through everything, then there's always another day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click thumbs up. Hopefully you'll be back to check out week 2 of Fortnight Frights. And subscribe now so you won't miss it. So you hit that notification bell and then you'll know exactly when the next video comes up. And thank you so much for watching.